I really enjoyed the Phantom Ship. The animation is great, there are some really funny moments, but the pacing certainly could be better. This is a Warner Brothers cartoon from 1936. It's directed by Jack King and written by Melvin Millar, with a voice cast including Tommy Bond, Bernice Hansen, and Shirley Reed. And this is a Beans, Ham, and X cartoon. Beans being Ham and X's uncle, of course. And they fly off in Beans' plane and they come across this pirate ship that has been frozen in time because it's a very snowy environment. Everything is frozen in place. So Beans, Ham, and X climb on board the pirate ship and plan on stealing as much as they can carry in the plane, basically. And there are a lot of riches around. We see a lot of sacks with what we can assume are either jewels or gold on the inside, and a lot of riches. And they're very, very happy about this, despite the fact that there are some strange things that seem to be happening around about the pirate ship. And then something else happens, but it takes 5 minutes to get to what I consider to be the most interesting part. And that's not to say the things that happen before that aren't interesting, but to me, what happens 5 minutes in, 5 out of 7 minutes, is, for me, the turning point when the real narrative begins to kick in. And we don't really get any real time to flesh that out. And I think they should have brought that element in a couple of minutes sooner and had a little bit more fun with it, because up until that point, it is kind of slow. And I will, in a moment, with a spoiler warning, talk about what actually happens 5 or so minutes in. But in general, the pacing aside, I did really enjoy this. I thought it was a really great concept. I am a fan of Beans. I really like Beans as a character. Ham and X are pretty good as well. The animation is really good. The design of the pirate ship looks good. There's a lot of space with which they can interact. I think they really utilised that very well. We spend a lot of time on deck, below deck, outside of the ship. Everything works really well in terms of the animation and the variety of what we're looking at. The only issue I really have is the pacing and the fact that it took us a long time to get to what I consider to be the main point of the narrative. Maybe it's not the main point. Maybe other people consider this to be part of the final of the cartoon. But for me, this was when things got interesting, so it took a bit too long. But either way, I do recommend it. I did think the Phantom Ship was pretty good and still worth a watch. So I will explain now the bit that I'm talking about. And actually, I really enjoyed the execution of this part. I just wish it was a little bit earlier. So this is a spoiler. And things started to get interesting when Beans walked into the room where they have the furnace. The furnace is obviously not on. And 2 pirates sitting on chairs. And because they're frozen stiff, Beans is able to pull the pirates' chairs out from underneath them, and the pirates are frozen in position, which I thought looked very good. It worked very well. And then he throws the chairs into the furnace to light a fire to presumably heat everything up because it's really cold. I'm not sure how long they thought they were going to be there, as I assumed they'd land, fill the plane up, and then leave again. Not really enough time to warrant starting up a fire, but nevertheless, this is what Beans does. And as soon as he did that, I realised what was going to happen. And this is, of course, the fact that once the heat is on, the frozen pirates are going to begin to thaw out. And they come back to life. And it is tremendous fun and it works really well. And what happens after that is really great. I just wish it happened sooner, because to me, that's what the narrative was about. The narrative was about Beans accidentally thawing out some pirates and then the chase that ensues. But it turns out the cartoon's treating it more as the finale of the adventure, whereas to me, it's the real meat of the adventure. So I guess it depends on your perspective there. But nevertheless, I still enjoyed it. I still found it to be a well-animated, fun story, and definitely one that I think is worth checking out.